Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 32 of the Whitey and Wills Sports Show. Today is not Sunday. Today is Friday, April 29th. We're recording a couple days earlier than usual, and that is so that we can get this week's guest on the show. We have got Jim Raddatz on the show. He is the maintenance director at Effingham Park District, and the reason we're having him on, a few weeks ago, we kind of got into a discussion about getting fields ready to play, getting ball diamonds ready to go in the spring season, because, it rains a little bit in central Illinois in the springtime. And so we thought, why not sometime get the guy on who knows all about getting those ball diamonds ready to go for a game. And Jim, that's you, isn't it?
Yeah, apparently it is. This is my ninth year figuring things out in the spring. But yeah, it keeps us busy. Seems to be getting busier every year, to be honest.
Yeah. So Jim, we know you're a busy guy, and even today, there's ball games scheduled to take place in Effingham, and the forecast is kind of, I think it's looking better than it was maybe a day or two ago, but it's kind of a thing, that you got to think about every day, because the city schools, the city high schools use Park District fields to play their home games. And so it's something that you're having to think about. I would have to think almost every day.
Yeah. My favorite app is probably weather app. Just every morning. It's, my wife, Tara, and I will sit down for coffee every morning. And that's the first thing I'm doing is checking the weather for the day, checking it for the next few days, look at my calendar, see what's coming up game wise. And then, trying to do the best we can to get every single game in. That's, as long as it's possible.
Jim, you said this is your ninth year, correct?
It is, yes.
All right. Have you seen a worse spring precipitation and temperature and wind wise in your 9 years of prepping diamonds?
I mean, I'll be honest, every spring is a challenge. There's been bad ones. I can't say I remember a colder one. I can't say I remember a windier one, and it seems like it rains every other day here. So to your question,
yeah, and it's terrible. And the games that we're able to have kids play are under less than ideal conditions.
Yeah. My son plays for Effingham High School, so I'm at all those games. And I know Coach Craik and Coach Hatton at St. Anthony are dealing with the same things Coach McNeely are dealing with. I mean, when it's 35 degrees or 38 and it's 20-mile-an-hour winds, I don't see how those boys are holding the bats. I mean, I really don't. It's been a challenge for us, for one, getting diamonds ready, on a Saturday morning when they want to start at 10 or 11. We've got to get there at 7. And if it's frosty, there's not a lot we can do with that, and moisture just wants to keep coming up as it thaws out. But to answer your question, no, I do not remember a more challenging spring than the one we're currently in.
And, I'm going to go back to when I played, late 70s, early 80s. I don't remember it being this bad ever. I mean, you at least have, okay, we got good spring temperatures and we're going to have nice days and it's really fun to play. And I think they're calling around the 11th, another, lows down in the 30s at night. There's another little thing coming, whatever it's called. It's not the Arctic vortex, I don't know, but it's nuts. I mean, hey, it's almost May. We're supposed to be nice again, but yeah, it's been brutal.
Yeah, it has. And the 18-mile-an-hour winds, I mean 20-mile-an-hour winds, that it is just, it's a different year. It has been, and really challenging.
Now, those winds, I suppose, would be your friend on a after it's been raining, if it was warmer, if the sun was out, right? I mean, that's kind of what you're looking for. That'll help you in some situations.
Correct. A lot of people who we work with, as far as coaches and athletic directors go, they say, well, this wind's going to help you. Well, if it's dark out, if it's cloudy, overcast, there's no sun, all that wind is doing is blowing cold, cool air around, and it is not helping us. A half hour of sun goes a long way. It's 15 minutes. Once that crust starts lightening up, when we open that infield up, we rake it. And this year, more so than ever in the 9 years, we've had to hand rake the diamonds for both high schools to get them ready. So rather than get our machine on it and rake it with the machine, which is a lot easier, we've had to hand rake it, and it takes quite a bit of time. But like I said, we try to do everything we possibly can to get the kids in, especially coming off the COVID stuff, where they, some of these kids missed a whole year. Some, had limited schedules last year. So we really want to do everything we can for them to play, and we've got a really good relationship with both coaches, both high schools, and the athletic directors. In fact, when it is, the athletic directors they're on their weather app just as much as I am, if not more. And Dave Woltman and Kevin Palmer are always really good about saying, hey, I can come out and rake. I'll come out, if you need help raking, if you need help, whatever we need, they're more than willing to help do it. And that helps a lot, especially with no summer staff yet. There's just 3 of us, on the clock for the park. So,
well, yeah, I mean, and I fully support you making them do that, by the way.
Who all helps you get the diamonds ready?
So I have Wyatt Jones, who's been with us about 9 months. You may know him. He played basketball at Effingham a couple years ago. Good kid, hard worker. And Brad Mesner, he's been with us about 6 years now. And Brad's awesome. Brad will run through a brick wall for us. I mean, he loves the park. He's dedicated to the park. And he loves what he does. And they're both real good at what they do. And we need that. We need that team effort on the bad days. We've got a good dynamic between the 3 of us where we work off each other really well.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing that made this pop out to me was that, and when Effingham High School had a baseball game with Altamont pretty early on this season, and we were broadcasting it, and like every other game in the area, a 30-mile radius was called off, and we were the only ones still playing. And, I just thought that was a testament to, I mean, the work that you do, but also the facilities. I mean, those fields just keep getting better and better. There's a lot of things that happen to make the fields more able to take a beating and then still get prepared too, right?
Yeah, a lot of that springtime, when we play when others aren't playing, I take a lot of pride in that. I take the diamonds very personal. I take our job very personal. A lot of that comes from the fall. It starts in the fall. It starts with drainage. It starts with shaping. We had Effingham Asphalt come out and remove the outfield at Evergreen Park a couple years ago, 2 years ago, or it may be 3 now. But anyway, they removed it, regraded it, and now instead of having holes where water just sat there, you'd have a left fielder who would go through 2 pairs of socks because he was standing in water, but now they did an excellent job of regrading, and that really helped us. And while they were doing that, we were putting drainage tiles on the infield to help that out also. So a lot of that happens in the fall. We use a lot of product in the fall. and the spring. There's two types of product. We use Turfus MVP, which is a granular, what you'd see on a professional baseball field. And then there's a powdery stuff for like really bad rain days. And I try not to use that. It's just not good for what our fields anyway. So I try not to use that. But yeah, it starts in the fall. We do the majority of our work then to get ready, because we know what's going to happen. Now, 9 years ago, I did not know that. And it was a challenge. I remember Kenny Miller, my first year, Kenny Miller was at St. Anthony, and it just seemed like we rained out every game. I mean, so we've gotten a lot better. We've learned, and we continue. It's ever evolving, I think.
Yeah, I mean, no, go ahead, Mike. Go for it.
So what you're using on your diamonds, you're telling me, is a lot better than, I know a group that once used sawdust on a diamond. So what you're telling me is, or you're ahead of the game than maybe the old Effingham merchants were back 100 years ago.
Yeah, I would say we're ahead. It's sawdust is probably cheaper. I'll say that.
Yeah, it was pretty cheap.
Yeah. I would fall out of my truck or off the machine I was on if someone came out there with sawdust and wanted to help us. But the products we use Turfus MVP. We use quite a bit of it. We buy it in bulk. And I really, I will say this, my boss, Jeff Altoff, and our board members, they're like-minded, and they love the parks, and they love the kids being able to play. So honestly, I don't remember anything in 9 years that I've asked for that they haven't approved, or Jeff hasn't approved, when it comes to making our diamonds better.
Well, I want to tell you, Jim, Paul Smith and Evergreen are incredible facilities. I played on the old Paul Smith when there was no home run fence. Okay. And you talk about rock hard, I've still got this part of my left knee that, is still, scarred up. I mean, it was terrible.
Yeah.
It was, and then we, boy, when we got the fence, that was a big start. But the facilities for diamonds that aren't all surface, I don't know that I've seen any better.
Well, I appreciate that. And like I said, it's been a work in progress. It seems every year, we have to do something to continue that, because like I said, we do take a lot of pride in it. And it's important. It's important for us. It's important for the kids. It's important for the coaches, the high schools. The big thing is it's doing your research. YouTube, you can find out a lot of stuff. You can find out cheaper ways to do things, and grading, and there's all kinds of information out there, and it's free. So why not take advantage? And that's what we try to do. And I have connections with guys, from Kinmundy to Bloomington and Mattoon, who do what I do. And I constantly pick their brains, because they're good, real good at what they do. And that's been great for me also. So yeah, Paul Smith has come a long way. Evergreen has come a long way. And honestly, I just want to keep that trend going.
So is there a wish list then? Is there like a 5-year plan, 10-year plan for those? Anything like that? Or is it just sort of, you look at it from year to year and say, this is what it needs the most. This is what we have the budget for, and this is what we're going to do.
Yeah. We have, I personally would love to see, your podcast take off and YouTube sponsor a couple. I would love to see turf infields on a couple of our diamonds. That would make my job a lot easier if you two could get that money. But in all seriousness, we try to put together, plans. Right now, Evergreen, park, Evergreen Boys Diamond, it's in probably stage 3, I'd say, of the process. We did the new outfield fence, we did the sidelines, we moved the bullpens out. Effingham asphalt was a big part of that, but my next plan there's really two more things I'd like to do there. One is netting, a 3-foot wall, and then netting from dugout to dugout. And pushed in a little bit because I think it needs more seating. So that backstop will get pushed in. Right now it's pretty far anyway. So it can get pushed in, probably 8 feet. And that would give us more room for seating, which it desperately needs. So seating, the netting, and then honestly, I would love to do in-ground dugouts at that field. When you're sitting right now, when you're sitting in the bleachers and you're watching your son and there's a ball hit down the left field line, well, you look down there and the dugout's in your way, So we have had help from Gary Welton, who's a retired, he worked for the state, and he's really good at running, helping us figure out drainage and how that's all going to work. And he volunteers his time anytime we need it. And he's actually been out there with the stick and measured, and we can do in-ground dugouts. But like everything else, it's going to cost money. And, it's just a yearly process. What can we do?
Yep.
And we had in-ground dugouts when I played at Paulson on both sides. And it's really neat. A neat aspect of you're down in there. I would love to see that again. So
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're cruising YouTube for the tips all the time. So you subscribe to us and spread the word a little bit. And
we get those subscribers up another couple thousand, Dustin will be in charge of helping.
Oh, sure. I'll put in a good word. Now you mentioned when you first started doing this, say 9 years ago, and how it's been a learning process. Now, was this something, did you just kind of like, how did you get into it? Is it something that you already had some background with, or was it just something that you were doing because they needed you to do it?
My background was in construction. When I was 21, I started, my apprenticeship. I went through, I was a carpenter for, 8 or 10 years. Then I ran my own business, which I ended up selling, JCR Carpentry and Remodeling. I sold to my brothers. They took that over when this job became available. The carpentry business, although I loved it, I love building still anything with wood. I still like to build. However, it was challenging. It was a lot of stress. Whenever you're building something, a house for somebody, it's a lot on you, and it started to get the best of me. So I wasn't looking when this job came available. The previous maintenance director retired, and my current boss, Jeff Altoff, he just came to me and said, "Hey, Randy is going to retire." Randy was with us for 37 years. I never personally worked with Randy, but he did a lot. Him and Ron Deal did a lot for the parks on a very limited budget. Yeah. I take my hat off to both of them for what they were able to do, from making new diamonds. And, they started from scratch, whereas I came in with 11 ball diamonds that, may need upgraded, some of them. And we're doing that slowly, but they built them, they started from the beginning. So I did not have a background in it. I had a background in, I could lead guys, and I, the carpentry part, because of the math required, helps a lot on ball diamonds when you're wearing things up, or you're, I have always liked to mow. I'll admit that since I was 12, I love lines. I love the striped look, Yeah. So it was a good fit when the job came available. Tara and I talked about it. We put everything together, the board at the time. A good friend of mine, Dave McDevitt, was on the board. I met with him privately. I met with Jeff over and over. And it was a great decision. I don't regret anything. Personally, I feel like my job is the best job in Effingham. For me, it's the best job. I constantly do something different every day. I can mow. I can, those diamond machines, I tell people, you used to see like in a psychiatrist's office, there's that little bowl of sand and there's a rake in it, and people rake that sand just to like, it relaxes them or whatever. Well, I've got ball diamonds. I can do that on. I can drive and it's an awesome job. It really is. And I've learned a ton. And I continue to learn every day. So,
Jim, you mentioned Randy Blake. Again, in high school, I worked afternoons. Randy, Dave Feldick were full-time. Harry Willenberg, actually, kind of the maintenance guy. Ron was in charge of the park district. And so I got to do a lot of diamond, and the Nickham field at that time had just been built. So you always had to drag it inside out so the rocks would get off the field, and you'd go over to the Little League diamond and you drag it inside out so the rocks would get off the field, and then you'd line it. Yeah, and we had a hookup for, I think we had a water truck at one time, and then got the hookup, so we had the fire hose and could spray it, which made it really nice. But yeah, those diamonds have come a very long way, and you've added more. But yeah, just, like I said, I can't say enough about how great they look. And my last question is, are we going to start playing flag football again in the outfield at Paul Smith?
I don't know if I can do that, Mike.
Those outfields were terrible because of the flag football would just run it up.
We have I have 9-year-old maps in my office of Google Earth maps, like of what the diamonds look like back then. And now I just recently, Hillary at the office got me new ones, and they're up to date. And the difference, I'm proud of it. I'll just say that. I'm proud of it.
Well, old time, you played left field and right field at Paul Smith. Those were your two fields. Evergreen didn't even exist yet, so yeah, just get beat up.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I played on Paul Smith in high school, and I remember, left field, center field, right field, the bare spots where you were standing. That's where the outfielders stood.
Where you went.
Yeah. And yeah, that was one of my, I want to get rid of those.
Now, does your son plays for Effingham? You mentioned that. Now, has the situation ever come up where he gets a tough hop during a game, and then comes home and gives you a hard time about it, over dinner or something like that?
No, I call him on it first. Hey, why didn't you make that play? It's never the diamond, it's never a rock or the diamond. It's the fielder always.
Always the fielder. I think that's you got to do it that way, right? It's all about accountability.
That is it.
Well, Jim, I know you probably got things to do this afternoon, so we do appreciate you taking the time. But it kind of, I don't know, there's stuff going on in town tonight, right? And it looks like it might be happening.
I think
Creek Classic.
I think we're going to be good. The Cross Creek Classic is tonight with St. Anthony and T-Town at Evergreen East Diamond. And the last couple of years, we've been fortunate with weather. And Palmer's been on me all week, with some little thing. I think he enjoys this night, and it's our diamond will be ready, and we'll be good with good. That'll be good for the girls.
It'll be a great ball game to go watch tonight.
It is going to be awesome. Both programs are really trucking along at a good clip right now.
Well, and let's just hope that when the city series rolls around here before too awful long, that cold snap that Mike was talking about, maybe somehow that gets lifted up a little bit between now and then.
I hope.
City Series has been challenging every year. It seems like it,
Always wet.
Yeah. I remember one of my first years when Coach Fleener was there. Right field at Paul Smith was a swamp, and it smelled. That's how bad it was. The water would just sit there, and it just smelled like sewer. And I wanted to do away with that, and we did. So,
Yep.
But yeah, I love the City Series. I love the camaraderie amongst with the parents in the outfield. The players all know each other, but they definitely want to kill each other out there on the field. And it should be another good one this year.
A lot of grills going during the City Series.
I'm sorry?
A lot of grills going during the City Series.
Yeah.
That's good.
Chris Custer he'll feed anyone who walks up. So.
All right.
We're gonna put him to the test.
Yeah, I think so. He needs to consider this a challenge if he happens to see this. So
I'll pass that word along tomorrow to him that so challenged.
All right, Jim. Well, we'll let you go, but we do again. We appreciate you taking the time today, and appreciate the time that you guys put in to get those games going. And the broadcasts are better when the games are good. The games are better when the fields are good. And so it's all part of a big community, and you're a huge part of it. We do have a lot of appreciation for that.
Well, Jim, what he really said, it's all on you. When him and Greg have a bad broadcast, it's your fault, is what he's saying.
Yep.
Exactly right. That's why, just like with the bad hops, if there's a bad broadcast, that's on me. I'll take it.
All right.
So I really time, guys.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. We'll let you bow out of the conversation. Mike and I are going to talk about a few other things. Although, this being Friday, we're still we're not quite as far along in the schedule as we normally would be.
Right. We don't have those weekend games.
I'll go ahead and put Jim out of the conversation.
I got to figure out what time does the Cross Creek Classic start?
They play at 7 tonight. They are going to play at 7. Yeah, over.
All right. Well, while we're having the show, I'm getting texts from my family. My daughter's coming home from Indiana. I don't know why we move her home a week from today. I don't know why she's coming home real quick. So they're telling me our dinner plans. So that may impede with the Cross Creek Classic. I'm going to have to figure that out.
Well, you get you get something to go and you take it over there and eat it.
I can pretend I'm Larry Wilson and eat dinner about 4:30.
That's the way things go with it at our house anymore. That's like, it's either 4:30 or 9 o'clock, because there's always something going on. So
we usually hit the West Coast dinner time in this house. It's usually like 8 o'clock. It's like, hey, what are we going to do for supper?
Yeah, I know. We got back from one of my daughter's softball games Wednesday night, I guess it was. We were over in Bethany and got back, and it's 9 o'clock. She needs to take a shower. She hadn't eaten anything yet. It's just, I guess that's part of the deal. You have kids, and then you spend.
There's 800 subways between Bethany and Neoga.
Yeah, we just wanted to get home. All right. So, there were a couple things I felt like we wanted to make sure that we at least touched on. Boy, there were some good baseball games already this week. I was looking at, so North Clay and Windsor Stew Straws had a game this week that North Clay won, and they are 19-2 now, which we've
21. They're now 21-2.
21-2. Okay, so they've played.
They beat somebody last night. They beat Altamont.
Altamont has, I'll tell you this right now.
It's up and down a little bit.
Yeah, but I think when the time comes and you get into regionals, and you're sort of going with your top 3 pitchers and stuff. They're
sure.
You throw the record out the books, but North Clay, we've talked about it, right? Machine, and
They just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and I haven't seen all their box scores, but when I'll see stuff on the X, I'll check stuff on the X. I don't know that I've seen Logan Fleener pitch this summer or this spring.
Yeah, I know that in that game they had Carson Burkett pitching, and I mean Gavin Wernsing was pitching for Windsor Stew Straws.
Yeah,
so this
he's
was
their ace.
Yeah, clearly
had a lot of strikeouts and still got beat.
Yeah, I mean the final score of that game, I'm looking right now.
5-2 or something.
Yeah. I'm trying to read the story on the Daily News website. 6-6. Yeah. Looks like 6. No, it looks like it got a little more lopsided than that. He didn't actually put the final score in the story, but looked like it was.
Send Millie a note.
No. This is on the Daily News. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to throw Alex under the bus here.
All right.
But anyway, it ended up being a fairly one-sided final score for North Clay by the time it got all said and done, but a close game for part of the proceedings anyway. St. Anthony's baseball and softball teams are both continuing to have very, very good years. I noticed that as well. I think St. Anthony. Let's see. I'm trying to look up their softball. I had it pulled up a second ago. I think they're like
little.
What's that?
It's a lot of wins to very few losses.
I think they've only lost 3 games this year. So the St. Anthony baseball team has really rounded into shape pretty well too. Yeah, here it is. So St. Anthony softball 17-3 at last check. St. Anthony baseball 15-3. So yeah, both of them, having
Solid.
Really strong years. I think St. Anthony softball, they lost their first game of the year, then they won like 9 or 10 in a row, and they've been lately just creaming people too. Like, I mean, they're
hitting the ball.
Yeah, and I think the National Trail. I think the last time we talked about them, they were either getting ready to play Windsor Stew Straws or they had just beaten Windsor Stew Straws.
Windsor. Yeah, they just beat Windsor.
And I know the Windsor Stew Straws at that point was having a really good year. They've had a little bit of a lull since then. But after that game, St. Anthony has beat Nokomis 19-7, Diederich 16-4, South Central's 17-0 according to their Max Preps page, which is a little surprising to me because South Central's, pretty solid team this year. And then Altamont 8-2. Now, what do I know about like Nokomis and Diederich? Not a lot, but still you score 60 runs in 4 games. That's pretty good. Effingham Softball, they're back up to 500, I saw. And, Jim was just talking about the Effingham, his son's on the Effingham baseball team. And we mentioned it's been kind of the conference schedule, especially for them, is just really tough. They're 3-5 in the Apollo, 10-8 overall.
Well, didn't they just beat South Central yesterday or the day before?
They did beat South Central 8-5 on Wednesday.
Which I know some people would say, "Oh, a 3A school." No, those schools in our area, those are great tests, and they want to play Effingham, but those are great tests for Effingham.
Yeah, and again,
the defending state champ. I mean,
sure, yeah, no, there's
baseball.
South Central is always a good baseball win. I don't care what the enrollment. I don't care what your enrollment is. That's a good baseball win.
Oh yeah.
And they got Charleston coming up. That's their Apollo conference.
That's their Apollo rival. Charleston and Effingham they don't like each other very well.
And then they'll play. It looks like they play T-Town again next week. Also, that's
okay.
So
and then the City Series in 2 weeks.
Yeah, City Series is the 11th, 12th, 13th of May. So
and I saw that long-term thing showing temperatures, and there was a big blue swath that went through right in the middle of that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna chalk that up to anything can happen between now and then. I mean,
sure, I agree. I hope so.
But it's
just like today. I'd like the sun to come out.
Yeah, that's it. It really is amazing what, and Jim mentioned that, but it's amazing what a few hours of sunshine and a little bit of wind can do for a field. There's been times where I've been sure that a game wasn't going to get played, but you get the right conditions at the right time, and it's a big help. So,
Oh yeah.
I don't know what else we got. T-Town.
T-Town went up to Mattoon yesterday and got beat.
Yeah, the baseball team
4-1.
4-1.
4-1. Okay.
Yeah, 4-1. Looks like they had a. Looks like they had a
extra inning marathon against Newton the other day.
Yeah, beat them 16-13.
16-13.
And it looks like maybe they played. Gosh, I don't know how many extra innings they played here, but they had to. Newton's a pretty good baseball team too.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, and as far as I know, Newton's softball team is pretty darn good this year too. So,
yep.
We don't talk too much about Newton, but they're right there and something to keep an eye on. So
I'll have to talk to the Moser family, start getting some subscribers, and we got to talk a little more.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll we talking intelligently and talking two different things. That's the problem I would run into.
That's our key.
And St. Anthony, rather the T-Town softball team, they're 14-3.
They just got beat. Highland beat them yesterday. A pretty good Highland team, but again, I mean, that's a good competition they're playing, and they're playing well.
Yep, they've got as we've mentioned, they're going to play St. Anthony tonight. Should be a lot of fun. That's a game people look forward to. He mentioned, Jim mentioned that Kevin Palmer looks forward to it. I think all the parents, they like those games.
Well, the highlight of that game is how they determine who the home team is.
Tell the people who don't know.
Well, isn't it do they stand at the pitcher's mound, or do they stand at second base?
I haven't been there for a while.
Well, it's either the pitcher's mound or second base, and a designated person from each team rolls, flips, throws, spikes, whatever the ball, and it's the closest to home plate.
I see.
That gets to be the home team. Oh, it's a sight to behold. I think there's strategy involved. It's kind of like Midwest curling without ice.
I mean, if they really want to. So that the whole deal there is that St. Anthony plays its home games over at the high school. Mm-hmm. T-Town plays its home games, obviously, at the park in T-Town. Now, Evergreen is supposedly a neutral location. It seems to me like it should be out in the. Isn't there some? They what they need to do is cut a field out in the middle of like a cornfield somewhere out in
out by the Tuscan Hills. I mean,
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So it's in between.
Sort of a field of dreams type of situation. That's what we need to get these schools to agree to. I'm sure they'd love to commit the resources to it.
Yeah, they've got plenty on the side there just setting.
Now listen, let me put you on the spot here for a second, and we're going to keep it pretty short today. But have you been over by the high school, Effingham High School at all? Have you been by the football field? Is anything going on over there? What's
my understanding is nothing is supposed to happen till school's out. I don't think.
Okay, is that right?
Mid to late May, I think Mr. Waltman told me in our conversations. That way it doesn't interfere with track. The company that does it, I mean, they know what they're doing. They just got to come in, strip it, grade it, and then put the new stuff down. It's supposedly not a long time. I mean, it's you're not going to do it in a weekend, but they're all gung ho, and I'm looking forward to it. And I may have to find out a way to go get like a chunk of Klosterman Field to transplant in my yard.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I've seen that done before. I still somewhere in my house still have some dirt from the pitcher's mound in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium.
It's in your vacuum cleaner. Your wife sucked it up and it's gone.
I don't think so, because I don't suppose it's probably in a box somewhere. She's taken most of my stuff at this point.
It's in a box with that clip of your hair when you got your hair cut when you were a baby. It's all in the same box.
But Mattoon High School's getting their turf football field too. Is it done?
Football, baseball, softball, the whole 9 yards.
So pretty soon, an Apollo Conference football game played on regular grass is going to be more of an anomaly than playing on the turf. I think you're getting pretty close because Taylorville's got it, Mount Zion's got it, Effingham, Matt Toon are going to have it by the time you're playing games. It's and Effingham goes down to Breeze.
For Charleston still have grass.
As far as I know, Charleston's is, I haven't heard anything about Charleston getting.
I think they still have grass.
But that's
it has grass, but they're not going to be in the Apollo anymore.
Not much. Not much longer. And
Bahamas got turf, don't they?
What's that?
Bahamas got turf, don't they?
No, I don't know.
Oh, Bahamas. Well, they're up there where the dirt's black, so they got it.
And Muhammad, what Muhammad does have is
they have everything but turf.
They've got a great press box. I can tell you that much. We enjoy going there. There's some adventures from time to time.
Is it better than Mount Zion's?
What? I mean, Mount Zion's actually the situation we've had.
You actually have one now. You have one.
Yeah, well, it's not a box. It's not covered. So if it ever rains, we're still up.
Oh, you're not covered. But you're not in the deer stand anymore.
No. They at least they've got a little nicer. They've got a little nicer situation for us as far as where to sit and having something to write on, and not having two radio stations and Effingham's coaches and whoever happens to be filming all trying to cram into the same little spot. So
you know how you fix that? You put a little structure just like that at Effingham that's only used when Mount Zion radio comes down, and I guarantee you it's fixed, Whitey.
Yeah, I think
I've suggested that, and Larry Wilson has suggested that multiple times.
Yeah, I think that the administration at Effingham is probably just a little too classy to do that.
At some point, you got to just get in the mud and muck it up. And I would send, for basketball, I'd put them on the floor with two folding chairs and a coffee table.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. We have boosters who have rented these areas up here to watch the game in these palatial booths. So you're stuck down here. No, treat them the same way they treat others.
The only times I've gotten really mad about it was one year where the AD at Mount Zion actually told us, like, you go up in the press box, and it turned out that they didn't have room for us, and so they had to sit out on the balcony out on the front of it, which wasn't so bad, except for the person who was running the scoreboard. She gave us a lot of grief because we were standing in front of her, and this was a half an hour before the game started. And I said, ma'am, we won't be standing the whole time. So if you could just let us get set up, we won't be in your way the whole time, I promise. And then the other time was when they were in Effingham, and the radio station that covers them was complaining about how dirty the windows were in the press box at Klosterman.
Tell them you don't have windows in Mount Zion, so step up.
I was just thinking, there's a roof over your head, so you got it better than we get it over there. So
I guarantee you, Whitey, I could have that problem fixed in 2 seasons.
Well, I'll vent here, but Greg never wants to make too big a deal about it because he's a nicer guy than I am. But it's been the topic of a few conversations privately on the way there and back. So, but luckily it's never rained. The closest we ever came to a weather-related disaster there was when Greg's little dial-down thing that he uses almost blew away from him when we were outdoors one time. So
yet
he's got backups though, because CJ, the guy who does our videography now, he made him some more. It was very, very nice of him, and more ingenious than I could ever dream of being. So
that's a given.
So okay, thank you. I walked right into that one. All right. I don't know. You got anything else you want to talk about, or should we just call this short?
That's all. We're trying to catch up on our Attaboys. So I did get one delivered to Caleb Seymour. He almost teared up. So he got it last week. Along with, we had 2 last week. Who was it? Oh, Abby Hatton.
Abby Hatton, and Caleb was the other one.
You doing softball today on the radio?
No, I'm not involved in that.
Oh, just
Nope.
Matt's doing it today?
As far as I know.
Since he's not planting yet, what's going to happen when he can start planting? That means
Nope.
you and I get called more.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, I'm coaching. I'm trying to help coach my daughter's team as much as I can. So we'll see if we'll see what action.
I get more exposure. I had a guy tell me the other day he really enjoys listening to me because I have a face for radio.
Yeah, well, he's got that
Right, he's spot on.
So there's probably going to be some other chances for you if you're willing. Guess what I'm saying? I'm talk to you about it now, where everybody gets to hear it, so that you can't say no. I don't know. We'll see. It always gets really busy once the regionals start, City Series, and then 1A and 2A regionals for softball and baseball get going after that. And so that's a hectic time. But
Yeah, I got a trip to Bloomington, Indiana here shortly, but other than that, I can probably work in those games.
We will see. I like to get involved, but it's hard to say no. Hard to say no to my daughter too. So, and I'll tell you, it's really tough to beat 10U softball. I gotta tell you, it's. I'm only being half sarcastic. It gets a little dicey. It gets a little dicey with the pitching.
I've seen 10U softball, so I know what you're saying.
It gets a little dicey with the pitching sometimes, but the kids are having a blast with it, and you can really see them learning from week to week, and that's fun to watch.
Wait till it's about 98, and you go to a tournament in Mount Zion, and there's no shade. Then you tell me.
That's the beauty of playing a spring schedule, is that we'll be done by the middle of June.
Good thing.
So I mean, but it's been pretty cold for some of these games. That's the other side of it. But I helped Kenny, my father-in-law, Kenny Miller. He actually mentioned Kenny. I helped him coach a 15U team once, and we played every weekend in June and July, I think it was. And I don't think we ever played a weekend when it was less than 95 degrees out. I still remember pulling my bag out from underneath the bench after one game. Like, we got there right before the game, didn't have a chance to go to a hotel or anything, and just took my stick of deodorant out and just poured it out on the concrete, because the whole thing had just melted in there. It was, but that's what summer ball is all about, right? You get good stories like that, and you get lots of games in. So, all right, Mike, let's call it a show. And
we're gonna do Attaboys, or what we're gonna do?
Yeah, no, okay, yeah, no, you. That's right. I forgot.
I mean, because we've had no shows. We've had weeks we didn't. It's been harder, I think, this time of the year, because we haven't been out to see as many games.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got two young ladies that are just pounding the ball every game, and they will be playing later tonight against you. Huh?
Yeah, perfect opportunity.
And you got to help me, because I always butcher the one girl's first name.
Give me. You told me before we went on the air, and then it's escaped.
One of them is representing Attaboys, will be Emily Conkle.
Emily Conkle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so you're wanting Rios. You're wanting, and that's
Cameron.
Yeah, Cameron Rios.
Cameron Rios.
Yeah,
because I think doing the City Series last year, I may have called her, and doing games with Matt in the postseason, I may have called her Cameron Diaz once. Just I was
I'm just
losing my concentration.
I'm listen, it happens. I I've made mistakes like that in the past myself, but yeah, she's there's Cameron and there's Addison. You know what I'm saying?
That's Cameron. Addison, I think, is a freshman.
Yeah. So anyway, there we go. For Emily and for Cameron, this one goes right out to you guys.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So if I can get out to the Cross Creek Classic before things start, I could maybe get those two delivered, and Abby Hatton. I could maybe kill three birds with one stone.
Their teammates will be saying who's treating, after.
Yeah, of course. So, well, there were kids lined up for Caleb Seamer to buy lunch.
And that's, of course, Joe's Pizza and Pizza Man.
Pizza Man are our proud sponsors, and I have one of our sponsors has added to our gift cards. I have to
War chest.
together our war chest. Yeah, that's not very war chesty. We've been giving them away, and I know those kids have been eating, so that's been good.
That's good. Glad we could do it for them. You know, always good to be recognized. I think.
And we stayed under an hour.
We did. I think we're probably about 50 minutes, something like that right now. I didn't look
50,
exactly
51 minutes. We've done pretty good.
Which is good because I'm on my lunch break at work right now. So I can.
Larry Wilson, I'm getting ready to fix lunch. So Larry Wilson, give me an attaboy for this one.
All right. Well, Mike, it'll probably be next weekend before we talk again, but
trying to work on a special guest. We'll just see how it happens.
All right. Sounds good. We should give you a shout out too, because you've done a really great job of rounding all these up. I haven't really. Kim Romack's about the only one that I really took the point on. So you've done a good job getting them for us, and it's been great.
I messed up. I was going to go to the Eastern thing the other night and talk to Tommy Michael and Coach Simmons and Coach Wilkerson, the football coach, and I had something going on. I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, that was tonight. So
yeah, somebody asked me, somebody here at Eastern.
I dropped the ball there.
They asked if I was going to go to that, and I said, I got places to be like every other night this week. I'm gonna sit at home that night. So anyway, all right. Well, until then, Mike, thanks, and we'll talk to you later.
See you, bud.